Auburn on the practice field, practice 1 today, as we're to that point of the calendar where spring football cranks up. And Hugh Freeze has settled in with a great recruiting class. Some of those guys are on campus ready to go for spring drills. I'm not asking expectations for spring at Auburn, but I guess I'm asking what are you looking for? What are you watching?
Well, I mean, I think in almost any spring situation, Texas actually will be this to some extent. You're always looking at quarterback, right?
That's right.
That is always the focus of spring is quarterback. And, I think a lot of times in spring.
More in some places than others.
Well, yeah, and I said Texas because obviously Quinn Ewers is the starter, but you've got a backup that everybody wants to see play, right? So you're gonna have some focus on him. And I think at Auburn, are any of these backups, whether, it's Walker White, any of these guys, are they pushing the quarterback position to get better? Because I think everybody would agree, even your most ardent Auburn fan would say, yeah, quarterback position can get better. It was not great last year. It can get better, and some of that is receiver, too. Who's he throwing to? I mean, there are a lot of things that go into it, but I think that's what everyone naturally is going to focus on.
Yeah, look, I'm still shocked that the Payton Thorne's going to be the guy.
I am, too.
In Hugh Freeze you trust. You hired him because he's a really good offensive mind, and if he feels comfortable with the quarterback that he went and got in the portal last year, you saw a couple of flashes from Payton Thorne. I just don't know consistently could he be good enough over a 12-game regular season schedule to put you in a pretty good position for year 2.
Yeah. Here are the other quarterbacks on the roster right now, if you forget. And our buddy Zach Blackerby, who does Village of Ice, part of the War Damn Pods over at Disruptive Media, the 3 times a week show that we have. List in this order: Payton Thorne 1 on his spring depth chart. He goes Hank Brown 2, Holden Gerner 3, and Walker White, the newcomer, there at 4.
Well, I mean, if there was going to be another starting quarterback other than Payton Thorne, look, and I know we saw Hank Brown against Maryland in the bowl game. We saw Gerner a little bit last year, but I think most people think it would be Walker, right? Like if there was a guy that is going to push him and possibly be starting games this season, I think that's who Auburn fans would want.
I mean, it's obviously the first name I mentioned there, and that wasn't an accident. I saw Zach's, I saw his depth chart there. I just think Walker White's probably 4 on the depth chart because you've seen nothing of Walker White, right? I mean, he kind of has to start 4th on the depth chart. You've already seen Hank Brown, as you mentioned in the bowl game. Holden Gerner has played, off and on for a couple of years now. I mean, you've seen what both those guys could do. You haven't seen Walker White. I mean, if you came out of spring and Walker White was the number 2 coming out of spring, it probably wouldn't blow you away, would it?
No.
I don't think he'd be number 1. I don't think he's going to come in.
I think he will be number 2 coming out of spring.
Yeah, and so to me, I mean, I think that's an interesting storyline then. Now you've got a young guy that could potentially in the summer push Payton Thorne to get better. I think you always want a ton of competition at quarterback as much as any position out there. You don't want a quarterback to get comfortable and know he's the number 1 no matter what happens. And that would be the worst thing that could happen to Payton Thorne right now, is to know there's nobody that could push me. That's not to say Payton won't go out on his own and do it, but he's forced to go out on his own and do it if he thinks Walker White's a threat. And if you're an Auburn fan, that's what you're dying to hear.
Jarquez and company, a running back, you know what you have there. Cam Coleman's there, if I'm right about this. He's on campus. So I think everyone's excited to see just how good the 5-star wide receiver is. Perry Thompson and Malcolm Simmons are going to arrive later. They're not going to be there for the spring. But Cam Coleman may be the best receiver Auburn has, at least on paper, since.
Best receiver Auburn has on paper
since. It's been a while. This is my point.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Ryan Davis?
Oh, maybe. Better than that.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, I'm just looking at.
I think the expectation for both incoming freshmen wide receivers is going to be they're going to be the go-to number 1s on both these rosters.
Oh, I would agree
Coleman
with you.
and Williams.
I would 100% agree with you. I think Cam Coleman and Ryan Williams are the number 1s. I mean, I want to go back to Ryan Davis. I'm not saying like
Darvin Adams,
Ryan Davis. I'm just saying those guys at least put numbers up. Auburn. Yeah. Do you know Auburn did not have? I'm trying to. I'm pulling it up right now. They did not have a wide receiver that had more than 350 receiving yards this year. Do you know this past year? You know how hard that is to do?
Well,
in American football.
In
yes.
American
Isn't
forward
it-
pass football.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Ronnie Daniels in like '99,
Yeah.
the last time they've had a 1,000-yard receiver. Is that right? Has it been a quarter of a century?
Yeah, I need to look, Lance, real quick, because back in I think it was the 2019 season.
Yeah, JT83 is saying, does the Auburn has never had a 1,000-yard receiver since? Stat still hold?
It
And that's
still
what-
holds, yeah.
That's what LT's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that stat holds. The back-to-back 10-win season since 88, 89, I
Yes.
think still holds.
Yeah, Sammy Coates got close back in the day.
Yeah, it was 9-something.
Darvin Adams had 963, so he was really close back in that 2010 season. But most recently, Seth Williams, 830 receiving yards, is as close as anybody has come. So it's been a long time since Auburn's had a prolific receiver.
Yeah, Cam and Perry are two of the best receivers Auburn's ever had, says Troy from up in Kentucky, making that projection there. Perry not on campus, Cam Coleman is.
Will says Darius Slayton was underrated. Darius Slayton's actually had a sneaky good NFL career
Yeah.
for what he was at
Yeah.
Auburn.
I would say he's had a better career with New York than he's had.
I don't think there's any doubt, yeah.
Yeah.